Jewelry, unlike designer shoes, is a true investment. Hi everyone, I am Ritika and today I'm going to share a little bit about my jewelry collection, my love for vintage pieces, how I built my vintage collection. It might also give you some ideas if you're looking to start your own jewelry collection. I only started buying fine jewelry in my 30s, and I think it was during the pandemic that I found a bunch of vintage jewelry sellers both on Etsy and on Instagram, and I was absolutely enamored by the pieces. I am actually wearing some of the first rings that I purchased. This particular one on my index finger is an antique. My wedding ring, which is a ruby eternity band, is also vintage. The turquoise ring is such an interesting shape. It is also vintage and in 18 carats. This one is actually a lower carat gold with the onyx. I really love this navette shape. And then there's the signet band, which has an Aries ram on it. When you buy vintage jewelry, don't be afraid to get a few links taken off, and if the rings will allow, don't be afraid to personalize them, because that's really the joy of it. A good jeweler will tell you how you can change things up and if you cannot change things at all. Especially rings that have some stones set in them, they are harder to be taken down or taken up in size. So keep that in mind. You can find beautiful rings for such a great price, especially when you're buying vintage. Some of these rings are consigned. They might not even be extremely old. You can find lots of different styles. So keep an eye out for them. I think one of the biggest things is finding sellers that you can trust. And that is definitely built over time, unless it is word of mouth. You know somebody who's bought from a vintage seller. And I'm going to share some of my favorite ones in the description. But most of the time, a good seller will be open to communicating. They'll ideally have lots of reviews, especially if you're buying from Etsy. They'll have a good, stable platform. So if you ask a good seller questions, especially about the make, how old the piece is, the condition the piece is in, a good seller will always answer your questions and put your mind at ease. So feel free to ask those questions. They're also a great way to gauge if this is a good, credible seller. I know this was a big segue into vintage, but after rings, I really started collecting necklaces. I also love a statement necklace. Yeah, one of my favorites is this gorgeous Tuvo gas chain, and this one was an expensive piece, but it is such a beautiful statement piece, and I truly feel like it is timeless. That's the other thing about jewelry, that jewelry truly can transcend trends. They can truly last forever, for hundreds of years. So buy things you love or things that you want to pass down to your children and grandchildren, but first things that you yourself love. But also I do have a few pieces from Cartier. My Just Un Clou bracelet, which I wear all the time. I really love the heft of it, and more than anything else, I love the style. It really feels like it's my style. It's such a beautiful, solid gold piece. And while they're really commonplace now, I don't think that my love for it has vanished just because. They're so great to find on the resale market as well. I know The Real carries a lot of Cartier. My favorite Cartier piece, however, is my gold Panthère. It is truly one of my most treasured pieces of jewelry. I absolutely love this watch. It was a 10th anniversary present. I know it's one of those pieces that I will love and cherish for the rest of my life, to get passed down to my daughter as well. I also bought myself the Cartier Tank, which is truly my everyday watch. I love how it is built. It is so sleek, super modern, and it's just a great everyday watch. It's something that I get to enjoy every single day. That's the great thing about jewelry too, that you can wear it all year round and it makes that investment even more worthwhile. So when I did start my vintage collection, a lot of the pieces that I was buying weren't actually super expensive. Take for instance these gold hoops. I believe they're from the 50s or 60s, but they're just really beautiful, solid gold. And when I noticed what fine jewelry is going for right now and comparing these earrings to the earrings being sold on the market, I realized how vintage jewelry can be priced so much better. And I know the gold prices are going up right now, so maybe these will not be for like whatever $600 I bought them for back in the day. It really goes to show that if you are looking for a really classic piece, look at resellers as well, because sometimes you can find really beautiful classic gold hoops for $200, $150, and versus paying the same amount for a gold vermeil, which is totally fine. However, if you can buy solid gold for the same price, why won't you? So when I was starting my jewelry collection, I did have a few thin gold chains suitable for wearing charms and pendants on. However, I did not have a statement gold chain, and this one was my first one. This is a simple rope chain. I think this is 2 millimeters in width, and it is just one of those really classic pieces that add just the right amount of something to any outfit. It's truly one of my most worn pieces of jewelry. It is just so easy to wear, and again, great to find on the resale market. Put in gold rope chain, 18 inches, 16 inches. This one is 18 inches long. It just drapes around your neck in the most effortless way. It's one of those chains that if you're starting your jewelry collection and you love gold, I would highly recommend look for a rope chain. If you are somebody who loves dainty, fine gold jewelry, check out Mejuri. This beautiful link chain. This is in 14 karat gold. I wear this all the time, and then this R pendant is from them as well. It's just such a classic thing, even though, believe me, you can definitely find initial pendant that is vintage. In fact, this one that has this really cool pattern on one side and then a B on the other for my daughter. That's my daughter's initial. Evil Eye, which is very much vintage, and it is a navette style as well. And this is how I take something that is super classic and super easy to find. You know, a lot of people have this link chain. The way I've personalized it with these vintage charms makes it mine. And I think that's another thing about vintage jewelry. You can really customize the things you wear, personalize it, and I find that so special. There are other brands too that are doing really great work when it comes to fine jewelry. One of them is Dorsey. This video is not sponsored at all, by the way. I'm just sharing things that I have and jewelry brands that I actually like. So Dorsey is pretty cool. They've created beautiful pieces that look extremely expensive in lab grown sapphires and diamonds. This is a lab sapphire tennis bracelet. I thought I'd give this a try and see if I actually wanted a diamond tennis bracelet, and I've realized I don't. I don't wear it as much as I thought I would. When I do feel like wearing a tennis bracelet, I have this one, so I'm pretty satisfied with it. I do think it is beautiful, and I think they have a lot of new beautiful pieces on their website. They do lab-grown diamonds as well now, which are certainly more expensive than lab-grown sapphires, but worth checking out. But I also love a statement piece, and one of my favorite brands for statement earrings is Surmeyi. Surmeyi is a South Asian brand, and they're based out of Palo Alto in California. They make the most beautiful designs. Their interpretation of the South Asian culture is so modern and done so artistically. These earrings are just phenomenal. Honestly, just look how beautiful they are. Just the detail is absolutely stunning. I always wait for their new collections to drop, and they maybe do 2 drops a year. So worth checking them out, especially if you like jewelry with stories. Another brand that has beautiful modern pieces is Pamela Card. I love Pamela Card. I've actually worked with Pamela Card as well. They have the most beautiful pieces, and I mean, these earrings. And I'll link all of these things. Everything I can link, I will for you. A lot of the designs are inspired by European architecture and landscape, and so it really comes through in such a beautiful way. This particular piece is in gold vermeil. I've also been loving seeing beautiful, colorful beads and necklaces. I know there's a Brooklyn-based brand, Julietta, that does incredible semi-precious beads, and then they have some ceramic detail. So stunning. So they're definitely on my radar. However, I was looking for a simple lapis bead necklace, and I went to Etsy. It is beautiful. The cool thing about Etsy is you can actually look for a bead necklace in the exact dimension of the bead that you want. This necklace makes an outfit. It is just such a mood, and I love pieces like these all year round. Sometimes I wear really, really simple basic outfits, and then it's the jewelry that has to do all the heavy lifting and make it interesting. This carnelian bead necklace is actually from Cartier. They're also Canadian based, and their prices are actually pretty good. I really love this one. It's such a beautiful color, the carnelian beads. And then this last bead necklace that I also got from Etsy is onyx. Oh my goodness. Like, onyx just makes such a bold statement. The contrast with a white outfit is just... And I'll share the seller I bought these from. Lastly, because I'm running out of steam, brooches. So I bought this vintage George Jensen brooch in silver at the Toronto Vintage Market, and I adore it. I have worn it so much this year and it has really opened my eyes to the world of brooches. I actually really love George Jensen. I've been looking at their vintage jewelry specifically. Their silver pieces are so beautiful, so sculptural. So this is definitely a new obsession. I really love, not super hard to find. And I think again, going into fall, winter, there's such a fun way to make boring winter outerwear look interesting. I'm going to share all my favorite sellers in the description. If you want me to share more about jewelry brands that I'm excited about right now, or about jewelry trends coming into fall and spring 2026, let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already. Follow me on Substack. I share a ton of styling content there as well. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day.